Hey guys, welcome back to another learn to draw video. It has been quite a while. Um, Unfortunately, because I don't pre-record these videos, I ended up getting sick a while back. I was sick for like uh, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, uh, and then really didn't do anything. No art. Uh, that didn't work out, and I pretty much didn't do anything. It was pretty much uh, sleeping and resting when I could. Of course, taking care of my dog and work. So, um, if it wasn't something that had to be done, then I just spent the time recovering and trying to get better. So I was sick for quite a while, unfortunately, which means I did not create any videos. I had nothing pre-recorded. So now I'm working on getting caught back up on not only this series, but also my comic as well. So if you're interested in those videos on this channel, they'll be coming back soon as well. So last where we stopped off at, we finished up on 1 point perspective, I'm pretty sure. And then now we were moving to 1 point perspective. Yeah. So I've given you guys an assignment on doing a third 1 point perspective illustration. So so you guys get some extra practice in. Hopefully you guys were able to. So I've already done my warm-up for today. This is it. So I did the lines, curve, waves, and then zigzags. And then my circles, ovals, and then some triangles and squares freehand. I have gotten better with this. I have been doing this in pen on the days that I'm not on my other days that I've been drawing, kind of getting back into the groove of things. So with that, just this constant practice of this as my warm-up. Of course, feeling more comfortable, feeling more confident in my placement of lines and drawing. So if you're still struggling with being able to trace over that line that you're placing down, it comes with time. So just continue to take your time. Don't rush, even though I'm still making mistakes here. When you place down that line that you're going to be tracing, once again, and I think I mentioned this in the warm-up video, when you're going back to retrace, don't try to rush. You want to take your time to make sure that you're trying to be as accurate with the lines as possible. You don't want to press too hard either, because you don't want to indent the paper, but you don't want to press too lightly to where your pencil's kind of coming off the paper either. So make sure it's a nice even pressure across your lines when you're retracing them. As you can see, I overdid that one, and that's fine. You just want to try to correct yourself on the next go around. Oop. So I still mess up, that's fine. it is what it is. These are just warm-up exercises. So don't be too harsh on yourself. So we're gonna work on 2-point perspective. And get some extra paper here. What I'm going to start doing, excuse me, with these videos when it comes to the perspective aspect, because I want you guys to really understand the concept of and the understanding of the 2-point perspective versus worrying about the detail when it comes to these drawings. Sorry guys. So I have my last drawings here. We did talk about 2-point perspective. Pretty sure we talked about 2-point perspective. Let's see what we got going on here. And if we did not, we'll kind of touch base on it one more time. But I'm pretty sure we touched on 2-point perspective. Let me just double check. Give me one sec, guys. I'll pause this. All right, so yeah, we did touch on 2-point perspective. I just wanted to make sure I actually covered that with you guys before actually getting into this. So I have my, where's it at? My Viz Ref. What we'll go ahead and do is, because so you guys can kind of see what I've got up going on here, we'll go with the 1-point perspective. But what I want to do with you guys, actually, trying to think. Yeah, we'll see about doing this. All right. You guys probably can hear my dog in the background, and sorry, not sorry. He's playing with one of his toys, and it keeps him entertained. So I'm not gonna clown him too. I'm gonna get on him about that. It keeps him preoccupied while I work with you guys on doing this. So I think what we're going to do for this 2-point perspective image. All right, so what we're going to do with this 2-point perspective, first illustration, is we're going to work on, we'll do one inside. Let me move this up so you guys can kind of see here. We'll do one outside image. Excuse me. And Jesus, that went down the wrong way. And then we'll do one inside image. Okay? And then I will give you guys an assignment to do one of whatever you want. So we're gonna do some ruins. I'll do that. One, I think it'll be nice is to kind of give some variety of things in there, without trying to be so precious with the details and stuff. And what I'll do is we'll just keep everything as general shapes or an idea, and then I will allow you guys, but I will leave it up to you guys if you decide to go back later after this video and create detail like we did in the other illustrations, right? So we'll keep it kind of basic, and if you really want to go in and add detail, you're more than welcome to. But we'll kind of keep it simplified so that way That way we can kind of keep the video focused on you guys actually understanding the features of the 1 point perspective versus worrying about the rendering, right? And then of course everyone's different with their rendering stuff. So I pulled up some reference, and I pulled it up from my Pinterest. Excuse me. My Pinterest. Now, I don't think I mentioned in another video, but I do play Pathfinder with a group of mine, and I am the one that's the GM, the Game Master, Dungeon Master, whatever you want to call it. So I create a lot of the scatter terrain that I use in the game versus going out and buying it. So I have a Pinterest board specifically for ideas when it comes to scatter terrain and stuff like that. So the reference that I have is stuff that I would like to incorporate or make my own variations of when it comes to my own scatter terrain. But I think this would be a good reference when it comes to ruins. If you ever look up tabletop RPGs, specifically dealing with like either Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or similar fantasy, high fantasy-esque games, you'll find a lot of like ruins for scatter terrain or like fleshed out like full table designs and stuff like that. So this is what I have. I'm going to try and incorporate some of this into it, and we'll go from there. So if you want, of course, gather your own reference here for whatever works for you, but we're going to keep this kind of simple. So I'm going to pull out my ruler. Let's start with the supply list. I guess we'll start there. Sorry, I know you guys can hear all of this stuff in my drawer. Excessively loud. So you'll need a ruler or some type of straight edge, some type of pencil. I'm using a mechanical pencil. You can also use, do I even have a regular pencil? Just an old school regular pencil. I don't, but art pencil or a regular 2H pencil, whichever you prefer. And some type of eraser, of course, to, you know, fix your lines here. So we're going to go ahead and draw, kind of like we always do. I'm going to draw the border of the illustration. Now this one, I'm not going to measure it out, but I will give you the dimensions in a second here. It's going to go here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up roughing it out first, and then I will draw in everything so you guys can kind of see what I might normally do for a drawing. So I'm assuming I thought I was going to use my mechanical pencil. I might go back to it, but right now, so use this. So I'm going to rough out let's rough out what I want to do. So let me pull up my reference again. So what I want to do is I do want to kind of incorporate like a portal. I don't know. I've been into portals lately with my designs and stuff. So maybe I'll do like a portal here. Maybe it's on some wood, or not wood, some stones that are probably going to be crumbling. And this is not perfect. I know the perspective is most likely going to be off, but this is going to hopefully help me get an idea. Actually, I want to create this portal bigger. So what I'm thinking is the portal, like stones here. And I'm drawing everything as a basic shape first, because then I can go back and carve stuff out. So maybe here, and then maybe this is like a huge portal. So maybe if I was doing like a comparison, like a human, right? This would be the size of a human, possibly, maybe. So maybe this is something that maybe the gods have created within this world. So I'm just going to do roughly like a half circle here. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then this would go here, maybe set. Nope, no, sorry, it's 7. So maybe this would follow here, and then it would come down something like that. Like I said, I'm roughing this in. Maybe we'll bring this in some so that way it curves in like this. And this has some type of thickness to it. So we're going to make sure we kind of incorporate that in there. And then maybe there's another set of whatever, how to get up here. And this can always change because I drew a small figure. So watch how I can change the size of something just by adding someone, right? So I can do this where this portal is huge, right? This is all huge now when we're comparing it to this figure. But if I want to, I can do it now where this is the size of a human. So now everything is looking more normal sized when we've got that figure in there. So, and if we wanted to make it small, make it seem small, and that's a human, right? So now that's looking small compared to that. So kind of looks out of place almost. So that's how you can kind of play with stuff like that. So maybe I'll add a pillar. I'll do like a line of pillars, because maybe this was like some type of ceremony area, right, where so then I'll do this just because I want to kind of make sure that the pillars are evenly spaced. So here's one pillar, here's a second pillar, and then nothing here maybe. And I'll bring these in because I want this to be, and then what we'll do is I'll just bring these up so I don't have just do like this. Maybe these are like stones, and then maybe, so I want this to kind of be the same height. Let's shrink that up a little bit so I have an idea of the height here. And then boom, roughly. But we're just roughing this in, so nothing is set in stone. No pun intended. With this, so I think that's here. Oh, what the heck? Maybe, I don't know what's going on. Wait, what the hell? I don't know. I don't. Perspective. I'll have to draw, when I draw my grid in or draw everything in, will be a little bit better. So maybe there's some rubble here on the side. Maybe there's like used to be something bigger. So what we'll do is I'll draw a semi wall here. Kind of just draw this up back here. I'll draw the rubble in later because this is going to be rubble, and I want to kind of mirror it on this side. So it goes this way, and then it kind of goes this way for whatever reason. And because these are ruins, I don't really need a full background story on what this stuff is, We're gonna kind of just mess around with it, and then maybe we'll just kind of do some bushes here, and then maybe some overgrow here, like a I'll probably go this way, and then kind of do here, and then whatever, maybe some bushes here for the overflow. But maybe there's some more greenery in the back here that we don't see. All right. So this is my roughed in scene here. So I can tell roughly, if I just kind of shoot for that, the horizon line is probably going to be a little bit above here. So we'll lay in the horizon line and then just adjust everything accordingly. Actually, horizon line is probably going to be like this, because if it's up here, we're going to be looking at more of a down view. So we do see a few down images here, but honestly, this is a bigger thing, so it's thinking above the horizon line. So we'll go something like here, middle level, almost mid horizon line. So we're going to rough this in here. We're going to mark it, horizon line. And then, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to keep the vanishing points off the image. So vanishing point right. Then I'll do the farthest one here. VP or VR. Actually, V is VP. Jesus. VPL. VPR. So left, right. All right. And what I'm going to do to make this a little bit more, to make it stick out a little bit more for you guys, I'm going to use because that might be kind of hard to see. There we go. Got my two dots. I don't even think you guys can really see that. Let's zoom in a little. So vanishing point left, vanishing point right. All right. Let's zoom back out here. So, I'm not going to erase anything that I've laid down. If you have used a regular HB pencil, if all you have is a regular, excuse me, a regular HB pencil, then I would recommend slightly going over it with an eraser when we're kind of drawing stuff out, so that way if your lines are too dark, you can kind of see what you're, make out what you're drawing. But because I think I used a H or an F lead, I'm not quite sure what's in here, these are light enough compared to the HB pencil that I'm switching to. So this was the one that I used to sketch, because I didn't draw too hard with it. And then this will be the HB pencil, so it's a little bit darker, so I can make out my lines and stuff a little bit easier. So let's do this. This is the focal point here, so I want to work with this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to try to do the portal. If I wanted to, we'll make this simple. We'll make this portal a little simpler. What it's going to do, I'm going to do this. I'm going to erase this, because I'm changing the actual design. So that I'm going to erase. I7. So we'll just make it like an actual no. He's trying to. I said no. I say no. Trying to get my I say no. Sir, get out of here. So 7 is making his presence known. There he is. Are you done? Are you done? I know you don't have to go out. Get out of here. All right, back up. So we'll just do this as the portal here. We'll figure something out there. So we'll just leave this here. It'll be a square. It'll be pillars pretty much, right? So we'll figure that out later. So, all right. So, yeah, going back to this, I want to make this a little bit more simpler, right? Because actually, this would be here, and this would like go like that, and then you would have something here. Boom, and then this like that, something like that, right? All right, so let's now start laying in these lines. So we're gonna start with this. So we're gonna line this up. And if you need to make adjustments, go ahead and do that. Because technically if I just do based on where I laid that first line, I'll need to bring this down a little bit more. But I think I'm going to work on the top first, where this top is gonna go. So yeah, this whole image is gonna change. Unless I move this horizon line. We'll see. We might move the horizon line. So I'm gonna go here. I'll lay that in here. And then I think roughly I want it to end somewhere like here. So I'm gonna go here and just, I'm not drawing too hard either. Like, it's just the fact that this is an HB pencil versus the lead that I had in here. And then what I think I'm gonna do is actually, I might change the vanishing point, because if I did the vanishing point all the way over here, that's gonna change this whole angle. So I think what I might do is change it to maybe here. Here. Yeah, let's go ahead and change it. We're going to change the vanishing point. I'm going to have the vanishing point possibly on the actual illustration. So VPR. Then we're going to take this one out. So we're going to line this up here. And as you see, I didn't draw the vanishing point in dark. I drew it in kind of light here. So this is going to change our setup a lot. Which I'm okay with. But if you are not, then actually that's not going to work. That's not going to work for me. I lied. That's not going to work for me. Because I really do. I don't want that strong of a turn here. Let's do this. Because I want to figure out the vanishing point. Not even the vanishing point. Probably have to change the horizon line too. I might have to do another page of this. So, an actual like trace over type situation. Yep, we have to. Okay, so we have to do this over again, which I'm cool with. Welcome to the art of learning how to draw. Actually, what I should have done was I did my last video was draw the templates out first. So I think I'm gonna do maybe here for the vanishing point, and then this will give me an idea of if this is where I want this horizon line to be, as well as the vanishing points. So give me a better idea. So there is a benefit of actually planning your drawings out before you actually do them. I'm kind of roughing this out here. And then the other ones would go here, and like that. And boom, 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 boom. So actually maybe I would want to do this instead. Too close. Do it that way and this way. So it would be something like that. And then maybe another one here. Boom, and then boom, you would have one slightly here. Excuse me. And then maybe you would have these broken pillars here, something. Maybe this is just rubble here. So do like a thin line here, do it that way. And then we'll do trees that would cover, so like overgrow and whatever. And then maybe foreground would be something like this. All right, cool. All right. So the horizon line is going to be, excuse me. Actually, let me get my, if this is my square, this is what I like the little thumbnails that I do, like these little things here where I can quickly rough in the perspective, because it really does help lay out what I really am trying to achieve, like draw out, and with I can easily tell based on the perspective. So if I would have drew this out in a quick thumbnail like I just did, right? If I would have did this mid shot here, and I knew what I was looking to do, automatically when I laid this in, all right, I would have known that right off the rip, like this is here, right? This is going to go all the way over here. And I know you can have different points of perspective within an illustration, but with what I'm trying to achieve, this was not going to give me the viewpoint that I wanted. I would have been able to easily tell. So plan out your stuff with small illustrations if you can. It makes it a lot easier, because I would have been able to tell within 2 seconds of laying this out that was not going to work. Not with the vision that I had in my mind. So pretty much we're doing this all over again. So and that's just art. Especially because I have an idea in my head of what I want to go over with you guys, but I want you guys to really see me do things, excuse me, right off the rip. Or not right off the rip, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of right there. I want you guys to be able to see the mistakes, the redraws, the thought process, all of that stuff, because I mean, that's what you go through when you are learning to draw, and then also just drawing in general. You might think a particular viewpoint might work that you have in your head until you actually start drawing it out and you realize it's actually not going to work. So and then you have to go back to the drawing board, no pun intended, and get some more clarification or replan your image. So I'm actually going to draw this out, outline the border and pen, just so that way it makes it a little bit easier if I need to erase anything. if you guys want to do this as well, as far as the outlining the border, then if you don't have like an art pen, you can just use like a regular ballpoint pen or gel pen, whatever whatever type of pen you have laying around your home. So these were actually gifted to me from a friend. There's actually no brand on this. And I actually like these. Actually, here we go. I don't think this is the same brand as this one. This is just says fine liner, so I don't know where she got this from. But these ones are Sypa. Sypa is maybe it's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Oh, these are not all the same. These are not all the same. This is Netbook. I don't know how you pronounce this, but these are the some of the fine liners that I have. These were gifted to me. I like them. They work wonderful as far as for me when I need to make any type of notes or kind of use anything for outlines. They work pretty well. I have different colors. So, but just a fine liner or a pen will work for you. So let's go ahead and draw that horizon line, since we already know what I'm working with as far as when it comes to the horizon line, right? I don't need to plan that out anymore. I'm going to draw that horizon line in. I'm still using my light pencil. I'm going to draw the vanishing point here, right? And then I'm gonna try to draw a little bit lighter with this, but I'm just gonna roughly lay out the perspective grid roughly, because this is gonna help me kind of rough in some of the lines for the drawing without having to bust out the ruler every single time. Because if I'm looking at this line, oh, actually, let me do this and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because these grids can be helpful if you don't want to have to bust out a ruler every 2 seconds to draw out a line. You want to be able to kind of pull it out and kind of freehand your lines from there. This will allow you to. Do I need to draw one? No, I don't feel like I need to draw one there. You can kind of guesstimate at that point. This is a little bit wider. And this just kind of reminds me of if you're in any type of, like, was it woodwork? Yeah, woodwork, or not woodwork, but well, okay, I guess woodwork or clothing, tailoring, stuff like that. There's that saying. I'm pretty sure it applies to other areas as well. Measure once, measure twice, cut once. Right? This is kind of reminds me of that saying, because I can lay out everything as far as the perspective grid. So when I start lining stuff in, I'm gonna draw one right here because I just feel like he's a little bit awkward here. You don't have to do it, but I'm gonna do it there. Ooh, that did not go through. Yeah. But because once I kind of have this perspective grid down, it's going to make things a little bit easier for me without having to bust out a ruler, and I have a better idea of where everything's going to be. So what this allows me to do, I'm not sure if I explained it in another video or not, but I'm going to explain it in this one, is that I can now guesstimate the angle of where I need to draw a particular line. So let's draw in something here. So if I know that I have this line like here, all right, and I'm drawing the line going this way, well, I don't need to have to like kind of figure it out. Like I can kind of guesstimate based on these two angles here that this is probably going to go like this because of how these angles are. And it takes time to kind of play with that, but if I'm looking at the way these angles are going towards that vanishing point, I can kind of guesstimate that as this is going, you know, if we're going this way, it's slowly going the angle of these lines. I'm hoping I explained that correctly. I don't really know how to articulate that in a way that might make sense. But I can kind of guesstimate the angle here based on these two lines. Kind of figure out that it might go like there. And then even this top part, I'm going to guesstimate based on these two lines. And because it's closer to this one, there's not really much of a difference that I might see, especially because of how far that horizon line is, or that vanishing point is. So I think I'm going to be like right here, right? And then I can just rough that in. And then when we're going this way, so I'm trying to make that whole long line there. I can base it off these two lines that I have here. And I know that I'm roughly going to be maybe, actually I think what I might want to do is actually shrink this line here. And then have the angle from here. And then here, because I'm doing it based off these two now. It's kind of almost in the middle, right? So following these those angle of the lines, and then here, I'm gonna bring out my smaller eraser because when I get this, I don't want to confuse myself here. Just that and that. So I know that this is gonna go here, because we're going based off of this line and this line. And it can get a little bit more confusing when you've got a bunch of lines going, and then now we need to figure out the other end here. We know that's going to be based off of where this is at between, if you need to come out a little bit more to figure out where you're trying to angle at, or up more. So we're going to go based off of these two lines here, which means something like this, because it's closer to this line than this one. And then we're going straight down. Boom. Because we're still having, in 2-point perspective, you still can have straight lines. Vertical lines. So, oh, okay. So now I actually might need to make this longer because of the portal, right? So let's go ahead and erase this. Actually, what we'll do is I'll just elongate it like this. And then I know I'm still having a vertical line, but I know that this line now changes the way it's going to go back. So it's going to go towards this one a little bit more. So, and then we still have to worry about this line, which is coming out this way. So that's kind of where that's at. And I might just leave it at 1 instead of, I know in this one we had 2. Let me get a pencil here. We had 2, right? We had this here, right? That was coming out, and then we had a second one that was here, which would have been like a stepping stone here. So instead of the 2, we're just gonna have 1, which is what we kind of have here, down here. Just have the 1, and then we have the portal area. So that's how we're gonna do that. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and do the portal. So the portal is pretty much rectangles that are combined, right? So we're gonna go here. I'm gonna assume this is gonna be where the part is, and then I'm gonna follow the line here because I want to make sure this lines up. Right, and then also here. And then what we'll do is I'll just bring this up to kind of help with, I'm trying to figure out the height here. Doesn't need to be perfect. Because I mean these are ruins, so this is like stone. Now if this was like, if you're making like a architectural building, then yeah, you would definitely want to be more accurate with the straight lines, and then at that point you might want to bust out the ruler. So we're gonna go here, and then I don't have a line that crosses here, so what I can do, just to kind of help me out here, I'm just gonna add I'll add a line. This is pretty much almost dead on, almost a little bit of an angle, but I'll do it from here, and I'll just go that way. So it almost looks straight in a sense. So like that, that's one. And then because this expands over, right, we're gonna have it maybe the other end come here. And then this still goes out. Remember, we're following that line here, guesstimation, and then, but also where this ends, so like here. Don't want that to be the inside or the outside. I need to make an adjustment because I'm trying to figure out the inside and the outside, right? So if I want the outside to be here, right? This is the thickness of the outside. It can go here up. I know this is coming here, right? So we've already got that line there. So here, and then this is going to go back, which means here, and then that means this is going to come up like this. And it almost looks pretty much like a straight line almost. But I want this portal, that top part of the portal, to be this long stone that's pretty much going to go here. It's going to be a large, so this is like a, so maybe there's and that's going to go here. All right, so like that for the portal. Or, you know, whatever type of, whatever this is, right? It could be a portal, could be if I wanted to, I could do this to kind of add some type of design in here. If I wanted to, maybe I'll do that, like arch, and then we'll add some symbols and stuff in there. And then we're doing these things that are like rubble, but I'm not gonna have it lined up with this. I'm gonna actually have it in front of it. So we'll do here, and I'm gonna make this like this big here, and then we're going it based on here, and this would be where that's gonna come at too. And then this is a wall, so it's got some type of thickness to it. So we're gonna go based off of these two lines here. Of course, a little bit closer, you know, and then like maybe that's probably the angle. And then based off of these lines here, I'm assuming that this is the angle of how that's gonna go. And then we're gonna follow this line because I want this to kind of match up with this. If I wanted to draw through, I could just draw this one down, like draw this, how this would go, and then draw this down to kind of have an idea of maybe what I'm looking at when it comes to the thickness, so I can just kind of transfer that over if I wanted to, right? And then it would be boom here, and then if I wanted to draw, like trying to duplicate the height here, you go like this. I don't think that's exactly right, but we can always check. If you're not quite sure, bust out the ruler. If you're not quite sure, bust out the ruler. Yeah, that's almost dead on right there. And then line this up just to make sure. So yes, I didn't do this one correctly because this is actually going to come down a little bit more. So here, and then if I did the draw through, right, then here, and then here. Right, so draw through here, and then we've got here and here. So boom. which means we can go here. Just kind of wing it here. Let me see. So actually here, line this up here, line this up here, correct that, and then also I have that as well. So now we know that this is going to go here, back there, towards, yep, almost, yeah, almost here. So boom, like that, and then this one is going to go like right here. Like I said, we're going to end up making this into rubble, so we're laying out the general shapes here. Now, we're going to lay in the pillars. Now, the pillars, I am going to actually use my ruler to make sure that I do get these, because I need them to be evenly spaced apart. So I want to make sure I get that. So I'm going to lay it in here. Just kind of rough this one in. And then I know I drew it a little bit harder so that way I can kind of make out the difference between one from the other. The perspective grid versus where I need these pillars to kind of lay out. And then maybe another set of pillars here. So, and there's a way to duplicate this to where it's like completely like evenly spaced out from like here, like the squares and stuff like that. That's not my concern right now. This isn't like a full blown out illustration. This is just technically, I would still consider this maybe like a rough for illustration. Like this would just be me testing out stuff to see how I want it. So what I'm gonna do is, that's here, space that just a little bit. Here is where I want this here, and then maybe I'm gonna see what kind of looks like a square roughly, where I think it might be good. I think that's gonna be good, because these are just gonna be stones. And if I want to, I think what I might want to do is do the other ones, because these are out from about, so here, and then stick out just a little bit. So here, and the other one somewhere over here. If I wanted to, what I could do, I mean, whatever. If I wanted to figure out the actuals, how wide that would be, we're gonna draw this. If I do this correctly, hopefully, I'm gonna draw that center line across, and then I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna line it up to here. That would be where I cross it at. So that'd be here. What the heck? No, I would have to be through the center point, because that would let me know where the other mark would be. But I don't have the other mark on this side, so actually it would be through the middle line. So through here, the middle line, Egypt. It's gonna be distorted, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be distorted. Excessively distorted, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're just gonna play the guessing game. So we'll do here, and then I'll just do like up here. So which means this side, somewhere over here. If you would even see this, let's see. You would see that much. So this is going to be where the stone is. All right, so I'm going to do the stone. I'm going to raise it up. These are smaller rectangles, so I don't need them to be like excessively tall, but I do actually. I have to bust out the ruler again. This is a lot of perspective drawing. This is it takes time, so lining everything up, making sure it's in the right perspective. I'm actually going to expand this one out here, and actually this one too, so that way I can already have an idea of where this is going. Here, and then I can just back this up here. Boom. And I forgot where this ends. I don't think I drew it dark enough, but I have an idea of where it's gonna go. Here, here. What the hell? So what the hell? Hold on. Here. Am I tripping? Oh yes, I am. I did it wrong. See, that's what happens. There's that, and then there's this one, which is, so you guys get to see me mess up real time. So this would go here as this one goes back like that. So there was a mix up with that. And then to figure out the height of this one here, we're gonna have to do this, line that up here, and then I can just go like that. And I know this is gonna go here, this is gonna go here, and then I can use this here and back that line up here, and then here. So I know that this is going to go here, back here, and then the front one most likely would go here. So it's literally going to be lined up here, and then this goes here, and then this goes back here. And if I want to figure out where that's going to go, that line here, we just mark this one here. Holy crap. This one is off. I knew it was off. I was like, something's not right. So we line it up here, here, and then boom. So that's where that one goes. So it literally is being cut off by the border here. We still have this one that we need to flesh out. Not flesh out, but rough in. So once we have that, just kind of rough it in there. And then we've got greenery, so we'll do just an indicator of some greenery in the background that kind of does its own thing. Maybe whatever. So that I'm not too concerned about, because remember, this is the horizon line, so you can actually have greenery that's kind of like doing its own thing. And you can actually have it expand out, because that is not the line up entirely. So you can kind of go in and out here. And then we're going to have some greenery in the front end. So I'm just drawing some lines here. And then just to kind of, you got your foreground, your middle ground, your background, right? So I've got my HB pencil, I'm switching over so I can just darken some of these lines up. Maybe. So we've roughed out, we literally have a rough of this image, right? And then now just kind of adding some details. I'm gonna let me get this foreground real quick, and then we'll go ahead and start roughing in slightly the how I would do the indicator for the ruin, so that way you can guys kind of see what I was talking about. And then just indicator of bushes here, and then maybe just because this is the foreground, right? Just sketch that in. course, you can do this however you want. If you want to make swirlies for the texture or whatever, then you can do that. If I was doing this, right? Experiment with texture, have fun with it. All right, so there's that, right? So now let's go ahead and so we have the squares, right? So now I want to make this look like rubble. So I'm gonna just start cutting away at certain things, right? So this is gonna have to cut down, and I know there's still this part here. And then, so we have that, and then say this is going down, and this is stone, right? So maybe this is the top part. And then, so we've got like bricks. So maybe this is one brick here. This is another, like, just kind of roughing in the brick design a little bit, because then I can play with some other stuff here. So let me see here. Maybe this is going here. And then here, maybe this is expanded out. I don't know. I'm just kind of BSing with the stuff here. So maybe this is the texture, right? So then maybe this stone, we have stone here, and then, right? And then maybe this stone's got a crack in it. So there's this hole here. And then, you know, we don't have to make this straight. And here's like another area. And then maybe this stone is missing. And then maybe maybe because of like the missing stone, like the damaged stones, maybe there's some rubble here. Maybe this is one of the stones here. And then we've got the base, right? And then maybe there's some, let me draw this, let me finish drawing this in. So maybe this stone is missing. Right, maybe there's a cutout of this stone here missing. And then this is here. So I'm not going to do all of these, but I'm just going to show you how you can kind of play with it. And then maybe maybe this one, we've got some vines. We'll do the vines first that are kind of growing and on the stone. All right, and then kind of just adding stuff here. So I'm kind of dealing with, right? And then so maybe this is not this is the height that I put in, but maybe it starts here because of it being broken away. So then we've got all this area here that would be the top of the stone. And then we've got the actual rest of the stone here. And you can draw the stone in first and then maybe go in later and then like do the roughen the bricks and stuff. So maybe this is here, and then so be mindful of the perspective if you can. And then here, right, maybe this part of the top part of the whatever this is, the centerpiece, maybe it's broken away some, maybe got some pieces missing here, and then maybe there's a chunk missing here, right? And then maybe the pillars here, it's got a chunk missing here, and then something, actually I'm going to do it the other way, because if there's a piece missing, it's not going to cut out, it's going to cut in. So just be mindful of that. we're taking away, we're cutting in, not cutting out. So there's like a piece missing here. All right, and then here, and then maybe, right, we have this pillar here. Maybe there's a huge crack there. And then there, and then maybe that piece that was right there is kind of on the ground here or something, or yeah, I don't know. And then we'll do the other side here. And then we'll just go here. And because it's stone, it doesn't have to be completely smooth, so we can add some character into these lines here. And then so we have this, right? We'll do this here. Maybe this has got a huge broken piece out of it. And because this part is broken, we're gonna follow that back here. So maybe this is like dug in, right? And then if I wanted to, this would come down here. So maybe there's a whole piece missing here. Actually, it's not, let's say it's not all the way. So you have this part, the back part that's still there. But there's this dent here and the front here. So this would be like a hole. And then we'd still have the rest of this. All right, and then maybe this has got a piece missing here. And then maybe we've got some grass here, because this is an outside area. I'll just erase all of these lines here that I've got going on that aren't needed anymore. Kind of help clear some of this. There we go. And then, so here, and then maybe there's a dent missing here. So now we have these walls here, right? So that we did. So let's go ahead and cut into this one and then go back. And then, so that way, if we go in here, if we follow that line, it's just a shaded part, and then I don't have to make it straight, but we're gonna make it straight just because I don't feel like dealing with it right now. So if I was cutting this part in, we would do it like this, and then did that, and then I'd have to transfer this over. So now that wall is, half that wall is missing, and then maybe I'll go here, and then I'll cut this part in as well. So now we've got another portion of this wall missing for the ruins, right? And then I'll just kind of roughly color that in here. And then we still got these ones over here, making everything kind of jagged. And then maybe I'll cut this in here, and then keep that here. So boom. And we got another one here, and then maybe like half the bottom is missing on this one. And then what we can do after we've got all that in there, all right, roughed in, then I can just go back in and just kind of add where I want the stones to be, the bricks, roughing those in here. And then I can just go here, and then maybe here, and then maybe there's another one here, right? And then I can go in and like really kind of those crevices or cuts in here, then I can go in and add that. I don't have to plan those out ahead of time. Here's here and here, just do this, and maybe boom, 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 and I can just go boom, like that. Then same thing with these, just kind of go boop. I'll draw those lines in. Another's going to be start from the bottom. That'll probably work better. Boom, and then there, and then I can go in here and be like, you know what? And I can jag these edges up a little bit, and then kind of put these gaps where I see fit. So boom. You still want to kind of follow the perspective. with the bricks as well. We still want to follow that perspective there. And then maybe one here, and then one here. You don't see the other one here. So maybe there's here, a dent here, and then maybe here, and maybe there's a huge piece missing from this side. All right, and then of course you can add texture to your stones as well. You know, you can add some lines in there to help give it that more wood texture, or not wood texture, stone texture. You can pull up reference if you needed. And then of course we have the background where we have greenery and all the rest of that stuff, right? So experiment, have fun with that. Play around with what you got going on here. And then what we can do, because we've got all this stuff in here, but we don't have any idea of scale, really. Here, let me do this. Let me erase these lines here, so that way they're not all up in the drawing here. Erase as many lines as I possibly can. Except for that horizon line, because we're gonna need that in there. All right. So if I want, I'll darken it. Yeah, I'll darken the horizon line. Kind of. I'm not gonna draw it fully because I don't want it to collide with the ruins that I have here. So I'm breaking the line so that way it not creating like a tangent. I'll just always erase some of this stuff here. I can erase this, which means if I erase that part, means you would be able to see the other portion, the other side of this part here. So there's that. And then of course, like, I'll add some texture here, and then we'll just go ahead and color and shade in the scenery here, the greenery here. And maybe some more. There we go. And then I'll erase the line work on the outside. I'll leave my vanishing points just because I want to leave those there. You don't have to, of course. And so I was saying, to help with scale, because we don't really know how big things are or are not in this particular image, because we have nothing to really compare it to, right? As far as like humans or like an animal, we don't really have anything to compare these items to, because these can be completely small ruins that were created by mice, or they could be created by giants, so they would be humongous compared to a normal human being, or it could be created by humans, and then we can go from there, right? Or you could have these extreme, like these humongous buildings that were created by humans as well, right? So you know, but you need something to kind of compare it to, so you kind of know what we're talking about as far as like the height or the size of these structures. It's always good to draw something in comparison that your viewer or yourself would be able to be like, okay, I know how big this is compared to a rat, right? So if I drew a rat, this is going to be an ugly rat, but if I drew a rat, right, this is the size of the rat, well, I know that this is not big, right? Because this rat is almost the same size as this pillar, which means that this centerpiece is not that tall compared to this rat. It's only maybe like three and a half rats tall, right? But if I draw a human in here, or a symbol for a human, I can do a symbol. I can do a human right here. Well, then I know that the pillars, depending on the size of the pillars, are actually not that big compared to this human, actually. So what I want to do is I want to make this human look a little bit smaller. What I can do is, if I wanted to make things a little bit easier, I could just add the human here compared to this actual huge structure here. So I can do this. And now you have your comparison for the human. With the comparison, with the size to everything else. So yeah, so that is it for this illustration. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me mess up, or at least understand that as artists you're going to make mistakes. Things are not going to go the way you might originally plan to, and it's also a good idea to plan out your drawings with thumbnails before doing a larger illustration, so that way you have an idea of what you are creating. So I hope this has been beneficial for you. Once again, the next one that we'll do will be something from like inside of a building. So we've done the outside, so the next one will be inside a building, and then the third one, which will be an assignment for you guys to do, will be whatever you like. It could be either inside, outside. I'll let you figure that out. So once again, thank you guys for watching this video. I want to thank you guys also for being patient. Like I said, unfortunately I did get sick and was out for longer than I wanted to be, but I don't get sick often, so when I do, I get sick. So but yeah, that's it for right now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.